Marshall Thompson. I'm here in a most unique environment in Africa, a place called Chipangali, a wildlife sanctuary that is not a zoo, but a haven for orphaned, abandoned, or injured wild animals. Now, the man behind this marvelous concept is Viv Wilson, one of the world's leading authorities on African wildlife. So join us for a fascinating insight into nature's miraculous world. Africa is blessed with abundant wildlife and a rich variety of birds. Strangely beautiful and fascinating are the birds of prey who have so perfectly adjusted to the environment. As a species, they occupy a most important niche in nature. These magnificent predators of the sky are well worth a closer look. A few days ago, Viv Wilson got word that a black eagle nest had been spotted on a cliff face in the giant tumble of rocks that is called the Matopos, meaning bald head. Now, this is a magnificent area, well worth visiting anytime. To Viv, this was a unique opportunity to find a nest, as most of them are quite inaccessible, and study the rare black eagle in its natural habitat. Are important for the birds at Chipangali. And to be able to care for them more effectively, one must study them, study their feeding habits, their social habits, everything we can learn about them, so that in captivity, we can take care of them in the proper way. The ground squirrels around the area didn't seem to appreciate our invading their privacy. A welcome breather gave us our first sighting of the black eagle. Borne by the freshening wind, it hovered silently. Well, the climb upward started off easily enough, but it wasn't long before it began to get steeper and steeper and steeper. And as we climbed, the mountain took on an almost alpine sparseness.
Deep in here, isn't it?
Yes, it is, isn't it? Charlie, watch. I think we should just...
Hold your breath, yeah.
Relax your foot.
I'll do that.
Look. Yes, it does. Look there. Don't let's talk loud because the Dassies are tremendously nervous. Look, there's one over there, look. See it?
You call them Dassies. I've heard of them as rock rabbits and
in the whole of southern Africa, they call them dassies, but rock rabbits is equally correct. But then there's even a third name. They call them hyraxes.
Oh, sure, yes, I've heard of hyrax.
And when you start getting up into East and North Africa, they're almost entirely known as hyraxes. Yes.
Yeah, and the black eagle feeds on these.
Yes. In this area in western Matopus, it's the main food. In fact, they won't feed on anything else.
They're kind of big to pick up, aren't they?
Well, a large black eagle would weigh about, I suppose, 7 pounds. And then a full-grown dussie would weigh a little bit more than a black eagle, about 8 pounds. And they are still able to catch them and just carry them off. Then they often stop and feed on them and then take back the remains to the nest.
You got your breath?
Jeez, let's get out of this.
Yeah, you take some of these with us.
Now, Marshal, just watch it now.
All righty.
Hey, I think we'll give it a break here for a bit, Marshal.
Suits me.
Have a seat there. Just let me grab my jacket here. Okay.
We're going to have to go by ropes.
Yes, I think so. It's getting a bit rough from here on.
Well, Viv, I have to be honest with you, I'm not a mountain climber. I think I'll sit this one out.
Yes, I think Barry better hang on here as well. And then Kevin and I can go a little bit further and go and see how far we can actually get. I'll leave my binoculars here as well. Yes, I think, once we start getting up onto that point up there, I think it's going to be a little bit rough, and then we don't know what's going to happen from there on. All we know is that the nest is on that face, and, we just know we've just got to play it by ear as we go along.
Well, listen, play it safe, will you, old buddy?
Yeah, we will do that.
I didn't envy them the climb, but Viv won't be satisfied until he finds the nest. To get close enough to see anything would be quite another matter. They tried their best, but they found, like most black eagle nests, it was, as usual, inaccessible. It was on a narrow ledge that would be impossible to reach without disturbing the birds. They got as close as they could, but that was it. A rather fascinating aspect of the black eagle is that it always lays 2 eggs, which take 45 days to hatch. Of the 2 chicks that hatch, the stronger one always kills the weaker one, commonly known as the Cain and Abel syndrome. The parents share nesting duties until the young eagle can take to the air at around the age of 14 weeks. It's a black eagle, all right. Maybe one day I'll get a closer look. That Viv will be back, there is no doubt.
Around here somewhere, Kevin?
Yeah, look, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
talked aloud. There's a crow there now.
And there's some very good repair.
Yeah, they certainly grow them high up, don't they?
Kev, you're going to try and get up there without the rope?
Yeah, with these overalls, they should help me on that bark.
Without the rope?
Yeah, Marshal, it should be okay.
You know, it's jolly high, that thing, Marshal. It must be at least 50 feet in height, that nest.
I'm glad it's not me climbing up there.
Okay.
Well, good luck, lad, but take it easy.
Okay.
But they occupy other nests, though, in some cases.
Yes, that nest is certainly not a crow's nest. It's a very old nest. You can see the branches are very, very dry. So the crow definitely has not built that nest. It's merely taken over an old bird of prey nest.
Crows are primarily scavengers, aren't they?
Marshal, they're mixed feeders, really. They certainly will scavenge wherever they find a carcass lying around or carrion, something dead on the road, they will definitely eat it. But on the other hand, they do take insects and birds. It's a common thing to find crows actually feeding on the eggs of birds and the babies as well. When the babies are hatched, they certainly can't protect themselves, and the crows and the ravens will attack them, kill them, and then eat them. The important thing to remember with a bird of prey, if a crow or a raven does attack a nest, there's every possibility that the bird of prey is going to return to the nest as well and drive the crow off. They do actually protect their nests against scavengers like crows.
Well, now, would a bird of prey actually take on a crow or kill it?
Oh, certainly, yes. In the case of a large bird of prey, there's no doubt they would kill a crow without any trouble at all. Is there anything up there, Kev?
Yeah, there's 2 eggs and a lot of other items.
My items.
There's a teaspoon
A teaspoon?
and a comb.
Oh, good. Then you can comb your hair for a change. What else?
A few items of wire. And there's a piece of sheepskin.
Goodness, you know, Marshal, it's extraordinary that they carry all those peculiar objects into their nest.
Well, why do they do that, Viv? Do you have any idea?
Obviously, it doesn't help in the construction of the nest. But I suppose, you know, as they fly around, they certainly like metallic or shiny objects, and so they pick them up and then decorate their nest with it, as it were.
Sort of a home decoration idea, huh?
In a farming area, one can understand them picking up pieces of sheepskin, but the spoons and that, it's obvious that they've got to go near habitations to find those objects. There's only 2 eggs there, Kevin.
Yeah, they're still warm.
Marshal, I would say that they're going to lay perhaps another 2 eggs. You know, they're the normal clutches between 3 and 4.
Got here a brown snake eagle with incredible yellow eyes. It must see from great distances.
Yes, Marshal, what they do is they hover high up in the sky, and obviously the eyesight, as you indicated, is extremely good, and they are able to detect snakes moving on the ground below.
And they eat only snakes, really?
Well, it's a specialized eagle in that one of its main food happens to be snakes, but it certainly will eat other things as well. But they do definitely specialize on the feeding on snakes.
The talons, really, aren't they?
It's going to pounce down on a snake and grab it. That's going to help kill it, but the important part must be the beak for crushing up of the skull. Look at these very large scales here.
Well, they look almost reptilian.
With those scales, it is going to going to protect the bird's legs from any form of snake bite.
Now, this is an orphaned bird. How did you happen to come by this one?
Well, it came in as a newly hatched baby. Someone had actually hacked down the trees in which the bird was nesting. The baby fell to the ground and it was brought to us. And then from there on, my 2 boys, sons, reared it.
Well, that's why he's so used to humans.
Oh, yes, he's very tame. And he won't go back into the wild unless he's actually trained now to be set free. But it takes a tremendous amount of work in actually training a bird. And so, you know, we just haven't had time to do anything about it. There's a great deal of difficulty in identifying the various birds of prey, particularly the brown ones. So many of them start off by being brown, and as they get older, so they molt out into their appropriate colors for that species. But to start with, many of the large birds of prey are brown, which makes it very difficult for ornithologists to recognize them. When he first came, he was a beautiful brown color and only about a year of age.
A brown bird?
The Bateleur is brown as an immature bird, and then they only get these beautiful colors when the bird is about 7 years of age.
So he's about 7 or so now?
Oh, no, he's a lot older. Yes, we've had him now nearly 9-10 years.
Oh.
So he is certainly older than that.
Now, what is the name of this bird, Bateleur?
That's right, Marshall. It's the Bateleur eagle, and I would say one of the most beautiful of all the eagles. But the interesting thing about him as well, Marshall, it's one of the species that is so often associated with Africa, because you find them hovering high up in the sky, and they've got a very, very short, stumpy tail. So they are very easy to identify in the sky. If we could turn him round, then you can see the lovely color on the back. If I go round to the other side of him, Marshall,
all right.
He may well turn around. Come on, come. Turn around, come on. There, what? See his short tail now?
Yes, he does have a short, stubby tail.
And look at that lovely color.
Beautiful shades.
You see his lovely white under the wings. Let's come back again to this side.
Well, he's watching every move you make.
In the wild, as far as the feeding is concerned, hey.
Look, you're going to lose another finger there, Viv, if you're not careful.
Here's a cheeky thing.
It's like a scavenger, in other words.
That's right. Often when a carcass is lying in the wild, the Bateleur eagle will be one of the first birds to arrive at the carcass. They're becoming quite rare in Africa as well. Unfortunately, many carcasses are being poisoned, you know, to kill off jackals and other scavengers like hyena, and as a result, some of the birds of prey are being killed as well. So the Bateleur is becoming more and more rare throughout its range in Africa.
No, he's primarily just challenging you right now. This is not a friendly gesture.
No,
Fluffing of the feathers.
No, he's not been friendly at all. If he got hold of one's finger, he would certainly make large holes in it. And because he's been in captivity all his life, because he's been in this enclosure all his life, he really regards it as his own, and he is defending it, and he doesn't want to be interfered with, although we're not injuring him or disturbing him. Nevertheless, one's presence is suggesting that he wants us to get out of the way. And that's why he's really making that beautiful display.
Now, how was this bird orphaned, Viv?
An ornithologist had this in Harare as a pet, and then he couldn't manage it anymore, and they sent it to the orphanage and asked if we would take it.
You all right?
Yes. That was a nice bite, wasn't it? You see what I mean?
You're going to lose another finger.
It's my own fault, of course. Yeah, come on. Marshall, this is the gymnogene.
The gymnogene?
Yes, one of our most interesting birds of prey that we have in Africa. It's got this peculiar structure in the legs. Just bend it there.
Yeah, it's most unusual.
It's not going to break off. His legs would normally bend in one direction over most other birds of prey. You can go back to an angle of about 70 degrees. Look here. Look how that thing bends backwards.
You would think it'd break his leg.
One feels nervous about doing it because you feel you are actually hurting the bird. But it's not in any way at all. His leg bends like that. And not only does it bend that way, but it also bends sideways to an angle of 30 degrees.
Now, why is that, Viv?
Because of its feeding habits. What it does is it feeds almost entirely on insects and lizards and small birds and you know, anything of that nature. So it hangs onto the outside of a tree on the bark, And if it finds a hole in the tree, it'll stick its claws down into these holes, and it will move the legs backwards and forwards and sideways in order to find anything in the hole that it can't see. And so therefore, it needs a leg that is completely movable. So it bends in any direction in order to grab those things.
Well, I was noticing it when it was flying around in here that it would hang a great deal from the top of the aviary here. And it was a most unusual sight to see.
Can I just do what you were saying? Look here. It does that. You're quite right. It is able to hang with its claws, and then it uses its beak as well. And it comes forward, and it uses that peculiar beak and head in order to grab onto its prey in the cracks of trees, in birds' nests. It will hang on with one claw and use the other one in order to remove any birds. Yeah.
Grab his food. I was noticing his tongue sticking out here.
Watch, it doesn't bite you.
Yeah. Seems almost sharp, like part of his beak.
I suppose it must help with the type of food that it's eating. It's not going to be eating a lot of soft things like the meat of rodents and that because of their feeding, so they need possibly that hard tongue in order to actually crush some of the insects and that it's going to feed on. But then that's all guessing, isn't it?
I suppose everything in nature is.
You can imagine that it tries to get that narrow head, that narrow beak, into cracks between the bark of trees in order to remove insects.
Well, he has beautiful coloration.
Extraordinary, isn't it? Look. It's got
and quite a wingspan.
A large wingspan, and very beautiful. You know, it's quite extraordinary how they do have these lovely colors, and one just doesn't know why they've evolved in that way.
Boy, he's got long talons as well.
They're sharp, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I suppose it's got to hook onto, so...
He startled me with that.
He's got to hook onto the bark of a tree, so it needs that...
He got me there.
Has he got you there?
Yeah, he's got me.
Now, let's try and get him out.
Pull his thing out of my finger. It would be most helpful.
Come on. Sit there. Come. Whoop.
You're a pretty thing. Yes, you are. You know, without Viv's compassion and devoted care to these orphaned and injured birds, we couldn't possibly have observed them as closely as we have. Thanks to Chipangali.